Hello. Are we live right now? Hello, everyone. I'm Audrey. I am not Sadaf. Sadaf should be joining us shortly. Let me text her. Join them live. So while we're waiting for her, I'm just gonna do a rundown of this thing. I'm Audrey. I'm on the media team, and my friend Sadaf is joining to answer some questions because we wanted a wider variety of students. There were no engineering majors on the media team. So I asked Sadaf to join. She's not texting me back. We put a question sticker on our story yesterday asking for questions for Sadaf, so I'm gonna ask her those questions for you guys. She's gonna answer them, but please feel free to ask questions in the chat. And yeah, we'll answer them when we can. Okay, Sadaf has finally entered the chat. Can you request to join, please? Okay. I'm using my TikTok ring light for light. Just kidding, it's a lamp.
Hello! Hi everyone, sorry for the delay. I don't know how technology works, but I have finally arrived and I'm super excited to tell you guys all about UCLA.
So before we start, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, okay, so hi everyone, my name is Sadaf, and you might have seen in my bio, but I am a fourth year electrical engineering student here at UCLA. I come super duper far away from San Diego, so just about 2 hours south of UCLA. Unless there's traffic, then it's 24 hours, but it really just depends on the day. So if you have any questions about surfing or avocados, I probably have you on those. And aside from that, I'm involved with a couple of things here on campus. I am involved with campus tours. I am also part of IEEE, which is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. I used to be the vice president of that, and I had an amazing time. Basically what they do is they have open lab space, and you're able to go use your creativity, create whatever you want, drones, robots, whatever. And I was also involved with Greek life. So all questions about stuff like that, I'd be more than happy to answer. I also have some relevant experience in industry because I've done internships, and I'm going and working for a full-time job in a couple of months. So really excited to tell you guys about it.
Yay. So I want to tell them about our friendship.
Oh my goodness, where do we even start?
These two strangers have a really good chemistry. I'm not here to answer questions. I'm just here to moderate. But me and Sadaf met week 1.
Way back when. Audrey's literally one of the first people that I met at UCLA, which is why we now have the exact same sense of humor. So we accidentally influence each other way more than we ever intended to. But I love Audrey. Y'all got a good person moderating this.
Okay, so we got a lot of questions, a lot about engineering, a lot about student life. I think we should dive into engineering first and then open up a general student life after. By far, the question you got the most was how difficult is it to balance an engineering major with all your extracurriculars?
Okay, so that's a super valid question. When I was first looking at different schools, I was really concerned kind of about engineering. I was I don't know if I'm going to be able to have a social life. Is it going to be 24/7 study, 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 especially at such a academically prestigious school like UCLA, and I was really worried about that. So I came here and I knew that I wanted to be involved. So right off the bat, I started joining different clubs. I started talking to different people. And at first I was a little worried. I was I don't know if I'm going to be able to balance this. But after 4 years of literally feeling as though I've utilized every single resource that I wanted here at UCLA, whether it be social, whether it be academic, I personally have never really had much of a difficulty kind of balancing my engineering life with my regular life. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you're never going to have work, because yeah, there is going to be a lot of times when you're going to be at the library studying, but that doesn't by any nature mean that you're not going to be able to balance your social life with it, because every single person at UCLA is really, really, really passionate about their academics. We are all studying no matter what major we are. And engineering, like every other major, is going to have some times when you're going to be at the library studying for a lot of hours, but that doesn't mean that that's all that we do. personally, like I mentioned earlier, I've been able to get involved with Greek life. I've been able to get into a lot of different clubs. I'm in a couple of different campus organizations, and I'm having an absolutely amazing time. I really, really miss UCLA, and I've had like the most amazing 4 years. So it's never just been, oh my gosh, I've been at a book for 96 days straight and I haven't been able to leave my apartment. So I have never personally had that issue. And I know that if you want to go at this with the mentality of I'm going to have a social life, I'm going to have fun, it's 100% attainable. You're not going to just be holed up in a library your entire time at UCLA.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like the classes aren't necessarily harder than other classes, right? Like, we had a lot of overlap in like prereqs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they make classes harder because you're an engineering major. Like, it's just like your study, like your the topic of your major, right?
I feel like the reason engineering gets like the bad rep of being so
Mm-hmm.
difficult and having so much coursework is just because we tend to be able to dive into our classes a lot faster because we don't have as many GEs. And for somebody who like needs as much industry experience as possible, I really like the fact that we don't have as many GEs because it was able to get me straight into my core classes from the end of my freshman year to like the beginning of my sophomore year. I was already in electrical engineering classes, which I thought was really, really awesome because I've been able to really just take classes that are relevant to what I want to do in my career for 3-4 years now, instead of having to kind of deal with things that aren't necessarily as relevant. So yes, we do jump into some of our core classes a little bit faster. And yeah, core classes are going to have a little bit more work, but that doesn't necessarily translate to it being a bad thing. It's actually a really cool and exciting thing because we get to dive into stuff that we're passionate about really
Right.
fast.
So another question, like transitioning to GEs, how are the GEs different for the School of Engineering versus College of Letters and Sciences?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so engineering actually only has, I believe, 5 GEs. So a lot of other majors are going to have like a lot of different requirements. Like you need this many foundation of arts, you need this many this. We tend to only have like one of each.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually was able to test out of a couple of them just because of like the AP classes that I had from high school. So I came into UCLA with like 3 GEs, and that's all I really ever had. And um, that's the main difference. So we don't have a language requirement, and we also don't have the regular GEs that a lot of other majors have. And this is going to be kind of across the board, similar with a lot of the specialty schools, because engineering is a specialty school. So our application process is a little bit different, and therefore like our core classes and like our major trajectory is also a little bit different. But that just means that we don't have as many to take. But that being said, I am really, really, really passionate about writing, and I wanted to make sure that I could utilize like creative writing classes and English classes and just anything
Mm-hmm.
that I thought was really helpful to me because I want to like write books as well. So that being said, even though you only have about 5 GEs, if you are really passionate about something and you want to take classes in a different area, absolutely feel free because I have been able to take, I believe, somewhere like to like 8 GEs just because I wanted to make sure that I got the writing classes that I
Mm-hmm.
wanted, and I wanted to make sure that I got everything that I was passionate about and really utilize the amazing professors that we have at UCLA, because I thought it would be a shame for me to really like this thing and not kind of take advantage of the fact that I'm at such a cool school with these opportunities. So you can always take more if that's what you want, but if you don't, there's not that many. So
And like your schedule's not super packed with like you have to take 4 engineering classes every quarter of every year of college to graduate on time, right?
so I'm going to give you like a two-part answer, and that's a good thing because sometimes I know a lot of my friends at other schools dive into internships and they go into like jobs after college and they don't necessarily know what they're doing. We have a lot of classes that really prepare us for our role in industry. So I like the fact that we have a lot. That being said, when you have a lot of classes, you're going to have to take more at any given time. Personally, I'm not going to like sit here and be like, oh yeah, you have to take like 5 classes every single
Mm-hmm.
quarter. I would say that the norm classes every quarter. But for myself, I didn't want to take 4 classes every quarter. And I was like, no, I'd rather take some lighter course loads. And I have totally managed to do that just by sort of taking a couple of summer classes, which you're also able to do at different schools. So I took some of mine at UC Irvine, which is a little bit closer to where I was. So it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I have to drown myself in a bunch of classes. You are going to be taking probably around 4 a quarter, but you can totally lighten that coursework as well by
Mm-hmm.
sort of managing to take a couple summer classes, which you can take closer to your home if you're not actually from UCLA.
And like throwing in some like GE classes or like classes you're just interested in at UCLA. Um, Also, someone asked how manageable would it be to pick up another major or a minor with an engineering major?
So it depends. First of all, I want to say that you can't double major in another engineering major in the School of Engineering because then you'd be there for like 20 years. And it's also just not allowed in our specialty school. So if you want to pick up another major, it is doable. I would tend to advise you to take a major that doesn't have as many units. I know one person who is double majoring in political science, and I know another person who is double majoring in communications, and they are picking up one quarter each, one additional quarter each, and they're also taking summer classes. So you can do it. My advice to you would be to definitely know that you want to do that as soon as you get to UCLA and talk to an academic counselor. One of the really nice things about engineering is that we have our own academic counseling unit, and they are so helpful. My counselor literally has known me by name and by class schedule from like the first day that I got to UCLA. They are amazing. I love them. And if you tell them that you want to double major, like as soon as you get there, they will help you come up with a career plan that will get you that second major. But just know about it very, very early on because we do have a lot of classes. And if you find out like junior year that you want to double major, that's kind of going to set you back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So you mentioned that you have a lot of industry classes. How are you taking your experiences within your major to a career related to engineering?
Yeah, so I
Oh,
actually found out, sorry?
someone also asked, what is design engineering?
Mhm.
And I know that that was your internship and your job next year.
Yeah.
So
So
go into that.
design engineering. I found out about design engineering a couple years ago, and this is what design engineering is. So basically, when you're going in to, let's say, like your iPhone, and you find out that there's a ton of different circuits inside of like these technologies, the people that are able to create and integrate these circuits into the technology that we have are design engineers. So it's kind of like puzzle piecing, like you kind of find all these different parts that already work, put them all together, design a couple of new parts, and it's really just problem solving for like big technological problems, and that is what design engineering is. So I really, really liked it, and I was able to get an industry internship last summer that was entirely focused on design engineering, which I thought was really cool because most engineering internships oftentimes have you like shadowing engineers or kind of working alongside them, but not necessarily like kind of spearheading your own projects. And this company was able to just give me my own research and give me my own stuff and say, go at it. And I thought that was really, really awesome. And something that was really nice about UCLA is that since I've had experience working inside of labs, because some of our classes, for instance, engineering like 110, it comes with a mandatory lab that's engineering 111. And that's going to be kind of a more industry geared class. Oh, I see my friend Maddie. Hi. And you're going to be able to take that class alongside your regular class and apply the theory that you're able to learn in these classes into a lab, which is really, really helpful. So it helped me a lot for my internship.
Cool. Um, and then so I feel like we're pretty good on the engineering front. Do you want to add anything before we move on?
Let's see. One thing that I will emphasize on engineering is that we have a lot of really, really, really cool research opportunities. And if that's something that you're interested in, like whatsoever, oh my gosh, you have to utilize it. Like for a couple of years at UCLA, I was working in a lab that was able to like create a smartwatch that you're able to put on your skin. And it works with like tracking different, basically like proteins and hormones inside of your body to put a numerical value on depression. And it's like so cool, the kind of stuff that you're able to get involved with here at UCLA because we have like such state-of-the-art stuff. So if y'all are interested whatsoever in research, make sure to utilize it because it's literally the coolest thing. And professors are really, really willing to take you like under their wing and be like, okay, I'm going to teach you everything I know. And that really, really helps for industry too. That's it. That's my spiel.
Someone said, are you EE or CSE?
I
Is
am
it
EE.
computer science?
Yeah, so I'm electrical engineering. A lot of our classes overlap with CSE, but I am electrical engineering, but I've taken a lot of classes in computer science as well. Also,
And
another cool thing, about engineering is that we have an embedded minor into our degrees. So mine is in like technical management and finance. So you're able to kind of like you're not actually able, you like have to, which is pretty cool. You have to take a certain number of classes in something completely outside of your major, and it's kind of like a built-in minor for us.
Like
So that's really, really cool. Hmm?
like a specialization kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're able to do it literally on like whatever. If you're like an EE that really likes bioengineering, you can kind of get like a little bit of experience in bioengineering. If you want like computer science, you're able to do that too. And I've
Cool.
seen one person has asked a couple of times how easy is it to switch majors within the engineering school, and the answer to that is kind of like a three-part thing. So if you are already an engineer and you want to switch to a different engineering, it's really, really easy to switch within the School of Engineering. So if you're like an electrical engineering like myself and you want to switch into material science or you want to switch into bioengineering, it's really, really easy. You just have to go talk to your counselor. It's like a small piece of paperwork and then you are switched. It's really cool. If you want to switch out of the School of Engineering, also really easy. So if I go in as an electrical engineer and I go for a couple of quarters and I'm like, I'm not really digging this. I actually think that I'd prefer to go into, let's say, biology. Also really easy to switch out of the School of Engineering. If you come in as like biology and you want to switch into the School of Engineering, that is kind of where it gets a little bit difficult because like I mentioned earlier, we are a specialty school, so our application process is a little bit different. So they do make it a little bit harder to switch into the School of Engineering. You have to maintain a certain GPA, you have to apply into it, and you have to maintain that GPA in engineering classes. So you can't be like, oh, I got like a 3.5 in my GEs. It actually has to be I got a 3.5 in the electrical engineering classes that they're taking. So it can be a little bit challenging to switch in. So if that is the major that you really, really are passionate about, I would highly recommend just applying as an engineer because it's a lot easier to switch within the majors other than into the school.
Cool. If you guys have more questions, ask them below. But right now, we're gonna go into student life. In your
Ooh,
bio, we put that you lived in Deneb Evergreen and Deneb Dogwood. These are both in
plazas!
Deneb, and they're both plazas with private bathrooms. Do you want to talk about your experience living in plazas?
Oh my gosh, I had the best first 2 years ever, you guys. I lived in Evergreen my freshman year and I lived in Dogwood my second year. And I was low-key kind of nervous when I first came to UCLA because I had heard like rumors that people that lived in plazas like didn't have friends. And I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna have any friends. Like it's going to be really sad. But oh my goodness, I met literally like all my lifelong friends inside of the plaza. I see someone saying shout out to Nev.
That's
Yeah.
Stevie.
Thanks,
Good
Stevie.
one.
But yeah, no, I literally loved living in the plaza so much. It was so much fun. Everyone always had their doors open, and I would just kind of hop from one room to the next, and I'd be like, "Hi, everyone." We were all friends, and it was literally the best thing ever. I'm living with one of my really good friends that I met in the plazas my freshman year currently, and I'm living with her
Katie.
next year,
Oh,
Katie.
I thought you lived
And
with her last year.
yeah, no, we all went around. Katie was
It's
just like the
really,
mutual
yeah.
friend,
Um,
but it was so much fun. I highly recommend it if you are somebody like myself who kind of likes to have a little bit of privacy in terms of like having your own bathroom. It's super duper nice. Don't believe any of the rumors that say that people that live in these dorms like don't have friends because I heard that and I was horrified. And not to brag, but I have at least a couple of friends, so it worked out really well for me.
I will say though that it's like not guaranteed like where you live if it's gonna be social or not. Like there's some so like the stereotype for a social dorm is a classic with a communal bathroom, but
Hmm.
like there's still some floors that aren't social.
Hmm.
And like the stereotype of plaza is like obviously that's false given your experiences. Um and then I was talking to Avery, Sadov's roommate, last
My
night.
other roommate.
We were talking about this and she was like, yeah, it really is like it's kind of random, but it's also like depends it really depends on the people on the floor. So like if
Hmm.
you're social and you want to make friends, like if you put in any amount of effort, like you will make friends.
I will say something about UCLA that's like really true across the board is you get what you put in. So if you're in even a plaza and you really, really want to make friends, literally just go knock on people's doors. That's what we did on our very first day. We knocked on everyone's door and we had like a sign that was like the who's that one guy from Emperor's New Groove? It was Kronk. And it was like, let's get crunk. And that's literally how we made friends with everyone. So it was just us being goofy and being silly and kind of showing off our personalities and going and being like, please be our friend. We're freshmen. And it worked for us. So just kind of like put in that energy and be a little funsy onesie.
a little fun. Someone said, how did you find your roommates?
Ooh, so I had two roommates my freshman year. It was Roz and Avery, and I lived with them again for my sophomore year. I love them. And I met Roz on the Facebook group for like UCLA class of 2020. And we kind of just had like, it was like Tinder bios. Everyone's like, oh, here's my major, here's my hobbies, here's this. And then you just message them and you're like, hey, I feel like we'd really click. Do you want to live together? So I met Roz that way. And we initially applied for a double and we ended up getting a triple, which is pretty
You
standard.
know, back then, freshmen were able to get doubles, but
Hmm.
now everyone has to be a triple. Like,
Yeah, so for us, I think we were like the last year that even had the option of getting it, but
mhm.
literally no one got it anyway. So we ended up getting the triple, which I'm really glad about because it was so much fun. But we got a triple, and then from there, we literally just scouted people in our building. We're like, who doesn't have a roommate? And then we found Avery, and it worked out really well because now she's one of my best friends. So you just kind of like go on Facebook and you're like, hey, who do you think I'd vibe with? And send them a message. And if you don't want to go through all of that, then you just kind of go through and you get a random roommate based off of kind of like lifestyle preferences.
Hmm. And then the way that they found, like the way that they're able to get Avery is like in May, like the second week of May. That's like the week after all the applications are due. People are like assigned their buildings already, and if you want to like add a roommate, they have to be assigned to the same building as you,
Mm-hmm.
and like the same room type. So like that just makes it so you can like just switch people within the building, and like it makes it like that's just how housing works.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
And also, someone asked, how did you like clean your bathroom? We get it cleaned once a week. So it's really nice. They were
I
never
think
grinding.
someone, what's a housing and hospitality, comes once a week for, and like there are different days for all the buildings, so like there's, we can't really tell you the specific day. um
My cleaning lady left me like a cute note on our mirror the day before finals. She was like, you guys are so smart and capable. You got this. And it was like my favorite thing all freshman year. It's the sweetest
they're
thing.
so sweet.
I know. We got her like a goodbye gift. She was so cute.
I'm just gonna go through some questions real quick in the chat before we move on.
Okay.
Someone said, do you know anything about the honors program? We're not, you're not in honors, right?
I'm not in honors now.
But
I got
someone
two
was
brain
going
cells.
live on Sunday who is in the honors program, so stay tuned for that. um Someone said, please talk about what's in Westwood for students.
Ooh, Westwood is literally so much fun, you guys.
It's
I'm trying to
really
get an apartment in Westwood like after graduation too because it's so much fun. There's everything. I have walked out and literally seen like Robert Downey Jr. because there's always movie premieres happening
the
at the
the
yeah.
Doolittle movie. Wait, talk about how you saw one of the Russo brothers.
Oh my God, you guys. So I'm like a massive Marvel fan. Like Audrey knows this. I
Okay,
love
there was one summer we both got into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I went to Sadov's house in San Diego, and all we did was watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
and like the thing is, Audrey told me about it and she's like, oh, I'm on like season 3. I started like last week. And then like the next day I was like, I'm also on season 3. It was so bad. We literally didn't do anything. Like it was, oh my God, it was so much fun though. High key, if you're into Marvel, watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a really good show. But I went to the premiere for Endgame like when it was coming out last
Like
year.
Thursday night, yeah.
Yeah. And we were like, okay, let's go. So I'm sitting there. I'm really hyped. Someone said Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the win. Heck yeah, that's our, I love it. So we went to the Endgame premiere and I sat down. I was like literally already crying at the end because I was so excited and I loved it
I
so
was
much.
hearing the trailers.
What? Yeah, no,
Like
literally
during
it
the
was like
trailers.
coming soon. And I was like, but we were sitting there. I was literally already sobbing. The end credits start rolling. And like, it's worth noting that like 5 minutes into the movie, somebody like walked in and I was really angry at them because I was like, can you sit down? Like, gosh, like 6 of them walked in. I was like, stop disrupting the
Were they in the
movie. And they
front?
were like right behind us. And I was like, these inconsiderate people. And I was really mad about it. The movie ends and we're all like cheering. And then I see these people like get up and rush out. And I turn around. I'm like, they're so inconsiderate. The end scene hasn't even happened. And I
Them
turn
has
around.
wrote the end scene.
I was so mad at them. I was like, they're so disrespectful. But I turn around and I notice that it's literally like the Russo brothers. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I don't even watch the end scene. I just bolt to the exit. And I was like, you need to talk to me. And I literally, as they were walking out, I just basically, I was like, oh my gosh, I love that movie so, so much. It meant so much to me. And I got him on film and he kind of looked scared because I was like, hyperventilating a lot.
You sent me that video and you're crying. You're like, thank you so much.
I was like not okay. I was just like tears streaming down. I was like, sir, thank you so much. And he was like, get away from me. But it was really, really cool. And I'm probably going to like, I'm going to tell people that he really liked me, even though he probably was like horrified of me, because it sounds cooler that way.
Someone said Pixar didn't happen, but like I literally watched an interview with them last week, and like yeah, it was really cool. We watched Endgame at the theater in Westwood, and during the Thor hammer scene, like a thousand people were screaming. It felt really good. So like,
If you want Pixar, it didn't happen. I posted it on my TikTok, which is it's like, oh my god, I posted like a small snippet of it. It's my same username.
Okay,
Shameless
so
promo.
about the movie theater in Westwood, it's like it's like historical Fox theater, seats 1,000 students, so it's like really cool for like watching exciting movies like Endgame, because like you're surrounded by 1,000 other students who are like in your age range, more or less interested in the same things as you, so that's really exciting. But also it's like big enough to have big movie premieres, so like
I saw the Jonas Brothers.
Like, the red carpet was there. I saw the Sprouse twins. I saw Dylan and Cole for
what?
Like his movie that was like 6 feet apart.
Oh, that movie was ahead of its time. We had no idea.
That's not the movie. That was a Freudian slip. But then I was just like walking to Ami, and then I was like, "Is that blonde girl from Riverdale?" And it was the whole cast of Riverdale just like going onto the red carpet to like support Cole in his movie.
I want to meet the writers of Riverdale. I don't know what they're on, but I want to meet them. I love them.
But anyway, other things in Westwood, like what are your favorite things to do? Like not even just in Westwood, like what are your favorite things to do like out in LA?
Okay, I'm like a massive foodie, so I drag people to like food truck festivals all the time because there's a ton around LA, and it's really easy to get to them because you just kind of like hop into an Uber or into your friend who has a car's car, and you just go there, and it's really, really fun. There's literally so much to do around LA. You can go to the beaches, you can go to the stores, you can go to quite literally anything. And in Westwood, there's a ton of different restaurants, there's a ton of different like stores, and just so much to do. I feel like I've never lived somewhere that's so like social as an entire city, I would say. It's just really, really fun. And someone asked, how are the karaoke bars? Phenomenal. Catch me singing High School Musical any Thursday night. So, yeah.
Someone said Universal Studios during Halloween, and The Hill, like Res Life, they sell like I went to it in October. They sell like discounted tickets and free bus rides to Universal, and it's like a group of UCLA students. No, it's a group of UCLA students. So like they do a bunch of stuff like that. They do it for like Disneyland, Lakers games, Hamilton, the Mean Girls musical. Oh my god, they had one that like last month, but
oh my god, it's literally so much fun. So yeah. It's a good time. You're never going to be bored in Westwood, whether you're out singing.
Yeah, even if you don't leave Westwood.
Yeah, no, you could literally spend all 4 years holed up in Westwood, and you're not going to do that because LA is so big and like has so much to do. And you're still going to have such a fun time. There's a lot of food. That's just like my one advice. Go eat as much as you can. It's so good.
Okay, so we're done with these housing questions. I'm like looking at a spreadsheet, guys. So
someone asked, do UCLA students go to award shows? I went to the Teen Choice Awards and I saw Pitbull, and that was the highlight of my life. I peaked.
Yeah, and like shows too. Like it's like free to go to shows like The Voice or Ellen, like Jimmy Kimmel. I think that's the one in LA. Like those are free. You just have to like reserve tickets.
Yeah, it's super easy. I was walking around the Grove one time and some lady chased me and Avery down, and she was like, "Who wants to meet Katy Perry?" Apparently they were filming like American Idol, and we literally looked at her and we were like, and then we just left. We could have met Katy Perry.
Someone said the Playboy Mansion. The Playboy Mansion's like literally 2 blocks from UCLA.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that close to us. I drove there for the first time a couple weeks ago.
I drove there and I was like getting back to UCLA and I was lost, and I turned a corner and suddenly I'm on campus. And I was just like, okay, that's how.
No, I was like, oh, damn, we close. So that was cool.
Someone goes, what meal plans do you suggest if there are already so many places to eat in Westwood?
I'm not even joking. The best restaurant in Westwood is B Plate.
No, honestly, like, it's not like
Our dining halls are so good, you guys. If you're, oh my gosh, you don't understand the struggle of being an upperclassman who doesn't have a meal plan. Like, I will always, always, always be friends with freshmen and sophomores just because I am fat and I like eating. So I will always go. The restaurants, like, the dining halls are so good. Get as many swipes as you can. They're so good. Oh my
and like
gosh.
also Westwood's like pretty. It's like not walkable. Like if you want to just have a quick lunch, like you're not gonna walk to Westwood. That's more of like it's like a I have 20 minutes to walk there,
Mm-hmm.
thing. So like I wouldn't substitute a meal plan for eating on a Westwood.
I had 14R and it was like fine for me. I would have preferred P because then I could have gotten my smoothie every morning. But you're honestly like good with whatever you get. It's just like obviously the more you have, then the more you can
Like
splurge.
ability, yeah.
Yeah, and you can bring like your upperclassmen friends in.
Mm-hmm.
Swipe me in. I'll
Me,
be in LA
I
next
made
year.
Stevie get 19p. Like
Amazing.
I eat on the hill like at least once. I used to eat on the hill, RIP, at least once a day.
I literally would like target the freshmen in like different organizations I joined. I was like, hi. And they're like,
Like,
get
oh
away
my
from
gosh,
me. And
can
I
you
was like,
be big?
"Food."
We don't have big here, but like I'll be your big.
Literally, they're like, ma'am, this is not a sorority. I was like, I'm your big now. Oh my
Um,
God.
um, 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 um. Okay, we're gonna go back to these questions real quick.
Okay.
Um, so a couple questions about Greek life. Do you want to do like a general summary of what it's like?
Yeah, so I was in Greek. I rushed for Greek life in sophomore year. I actually had no idea like what sororities were my freshman year. And so I didn't end up rushing.
Hmm.
And then I went to recruitment my second year and I was like, okay, this like seems kind of fun. I'll do it. And I wasn't like super into the entire concept. And then I found a house that I really, really liked. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a couple of months just to see if this is like for me. And I ended up really, really liking it. So I stayed in the house for like a really, really long time. I absolutely loved every single second of it. I ended up becoming the philanthropy director, which was like a complete other thing because it was so wild. I was able to get like the guys from The Bachelor to come to our house, and that was the peak of my entire existence. So it was really, really fun. Recruitment is I would say like even if you're not entirely sold on the concept of being in Greek life, just go out to recruitment because the absolute worst thing that can happen is you end up not joining house. You're like, okay, I don't necessarily like it. It's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. You can totally drop out at any point, and then you can say like, I tried it. It wasn't for me. But if you have like any interest whatsoever, I would highly recommend just going out to recruitment, seeing if you like it. Because for someone like me, that was always kind of more of like, not to be that girl that's like, oh yeah, I was always a tomboy, but like, I wasn't really into like the whole sorority life thing, and I didn't think that I would like it as much as I did. But it ended up being such an amazing part of my college experience. I found like lifelong friends in the house, and like the female empowerment was really, really amazing for me. Also, because like since I am in a major that is predominantly for men, it was a little bit challenging for me to meet some of the girls in my major. And this kind of gave me like that circle of people that I could really like rely on and be like, okay, guys, like I just need some girl time. So it was really awesome for me. I highly, highly recommend going out to recruitment if you're even like a little bit
Mm-hmm.
curious about it.
Yeah, because you can go to recruitment and then like you said, not join the house. So it's
Hmm.
not like binding. Versus like if you are interested and you don't go to recruitment, like you really like what can you do at that point, you know?
Hmm.
Um, what's your okay, we're going on to general questions that we got. Um, what's your favorite thing about UCLA?
Ooh,
You have to choose one.
I have
You
to
can
choose
choose maybe
one.
two.
Let's see. Oh my gosh, it's actually, and this isn't me trying to like sell the school or anything. It genuinely is so difficult for me to choose one thing that I love the most at UCLA because it's been the most amazing 4 years of my entire life. Like I love this school with every ounce of my being.
Hello? What happened?
My battery was running low. I was like, oh no, I got kicked off. But
That's it. Done.
I was like, my favorite thing is, oh no, I'm losing connection. Oh no, my favorite thing is probably the community at this school because even when like obviously spring quarter was transitioned to online, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to like lose out on my traditional like senior end to my college experience. But I noticed that one of the really cool things about UCLA was the fact that like within minutes of spring quarter being transitioned to online, I'm gonna get this lighting out of my face. Within minutes of spring quarter being transitioned online, I was immediately added to a group chat with like thousands of seniors, and everyone was just like, okay, like here's ways that we can still stay connected. Here's ways that we can still be friends and make the most out of our senior year. And I feel like that's a very uniquely UCLA thing, because I know that you hear all about like, oh, the Bruin pride and all of that kind of stuff so often, but you don't necessarily understand how much of an impact Bruin pride has and how much like of a family this community is until you genuinely get there and you're a part of it. Because people are literally so willing to just kind of reach out to you and be your. But if you have like any interest whatsoever, I would highly recommend just going out to recruitment, seeing if you like it. Because for someone like me, that was always kind of more of like, not to be that girl that's like, oh yeah, I was always a tomboy, but like, I wasn't really into like the whole sorority life thing, and I didn't think that I would like it as much as I did. But it ended up being such an amazing part of my college experience. I found like lifelong friends in the house, and like the female empowerment was really, really amazing for me. Also, because like since I am in a major that is predominantly for men, it was a little bit challenging for me to meet some of the girls in my major. And this kind of gave me like that circle of people that I could really like rely on and be like, okay, guys, like I just need some girl time. So it was really awesome for me. I highly, highly recommend going out to recruitment if you're even like a little bit
Mm-hmm.
curious about it.
Yeah, because you can go to recruitment and then like you said, not join the house. So it's
Hmm.
not like binding. Versus like if you are interested and you don't go to recruitment, like you really like what can you do at that point, you know?
Hmm.
Um, what's your okay, we're going on to general questions that we got. Um, what's your favorite thing about UCLA?
Ooh,
You have to choose one.
I have
You
to
can choose
choose
maybe
one.
two.
Let's see. Oh my gosh, it's actually, and this isn't me trying to like sell the school or anything. It genuinely is so difficult for me to choose one thing that I love the most at UCLA, because it's been the most amazing 4 years of my entire life. Like I love this school with every ounce of my being.
Hello? What happened?
My battery was running low. I was like, oh no, I got kicked off. But
That's it. Done.
I was like, my favorite thing is, oh no, I'm losing connection. Oh no. My favorite thing is probably the community at this school, because even when like obviously spring quarter was transitioned to online, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to like lose out on my traditional like senior end to my college experience. But I noticed that one of the really cool things about UCLA was the fact that like within minutes of spring quarter being transitioned to online, I'm gonna get this lighting out of my face. Within minutes of spring quarter being transitioned online, I was immediately added to a group chat with like thousands of seniors, and everyone was just like, okay, like here's ways that we can still stay connected. Here's ways that we can still be friends and make the most out of our senior year. And I feel like that's a very uniquely UCLA thing, because I know that you hear all about like, oh, the Bruin pride and all of that kind of stuff so often, but you don't necessarily understand how much of an impact Bruin pride has and how much like of a family this community is until you genuinely get there and you're a part of it. Because people are literally so willing to just kind of reach out to you and be your friend or help you out, and in any situation, whether it be in a social situation or an academic situation where you're like, hey, I don't necessarily understand this homework, can someone help me? I sometimes just throw that into like discussion boards, and a bunch of people respond and they're
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, what's your number, hit me up, I will help you, I will like tutor you if you need. And it's really, really awesome, and I feel like that's something very, very unique to UCLA. So I
Which is like
absolutely love the community here.
pretty
Sorry.
like unexpected given like how big of a school we are. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're very like willing. I feel like for the most part, everyone's very willing to like talk to each other, help each
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things that one of my professors told me on like my first couple days of freshman year, which has stuck with me for a really long time, is that there's a lot of ways to make a big school feel small, but there's not a lot of ways to make a small school feel big.
other.
So when you're on a giant campus like UCLA, you get the best of both worlds because you can go to like a football game and see an entire stadium of blue and gold, and that's like a feeling that you cannot get at a smaller college. And it's like, it's so cool, it's amazing, and you just get to go and really understand how massive your school is. But then also, I'm not even exaggerating when I say that when I'm on campus and you're walking from one end of campus to the other end of campus, it's nearly impossible to not run into one person that's like, hey, how was your
Mm-hmm.
day? And just kind of talks to you, because you end up meeting such a huge portion of the school because everyone is such a tight knit community.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is so nice to each other, and we are kind of like a giant Bruin family. As kind of like cliche as that sounds, it is really, really true.
I also think it's kind of nice that like there's not like major overlap in like the groups I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like so like different clubs, like different majors, just like friend groups. Like everyone doesn't know each other. I feel like that could kind of feel like high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like
There's no
in a
cliques.
stereotypical way. Like there's no cliques because like everyone knows different people, and it's like kind of nice because like everyone can just do their own thing,
Mm-hmm.
but like obviously still have friends and like support system.
I know I was always like kind of hesitant to really be like as much of myself as possible in high school because I was always like, oh, everyone knows each other. Like if I make one wrong move, then whew, like what's gonna happen? But now it's like I have never once been afraid to be like my true authentic self because it's always really embraced and accepted here on campus. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. Like if one person doesn't like you, that's fine. There's like 40,000 other people to go through. So it's really, really
Yeah.
nice. I will not be satisfied until all 40,000 people at UCLA dislike me.
Um, and then so were you choosing between UCLA and another school? And if so, why did you choose UCLA?
Yeah, I
Me,
was.
the good sponsor, still has.
I was actually like choosing between two other schools, and UCLA
Mm-hmm.
was in like my top three. And I was like, okay, I need to sit down and really envision myself at all three of these schools and understand why I want to go to like each one respectively. So I made like pros and cons lists because I've always been that girl. And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna move this to the pros and this to the cons. And I was like blowing my mind over this. But a part of me always wanted to go to UCLA. There was kind of like that bit underneath that I was like, UCLA is my dream school, but I need to realistically make my decision not just because, oh, it's my dream school, but because like let's make sure that this is the best school for me as well. So I ended up coming to Bruin Day, and I actually met a professor on that day that talked to me for a really, really long time. And that was kind of like one of the things that really stuck out to me because I was really worried that at a big school like this, I wouldn't have access to my professors. I wouldn't have access to
Mm-hmm.
like TAs and all that kind of stuff. And I was also really torn between engineering and English as my majors. So I talked a little bit about like the difference between like obviously there's differences between engineering and English, but like kind of more like the intersection. And he told me one thing that really, really stuck to me. And this was at like engineering day. He was like, the intersection between a creative spirit and an intellectual mind happens inside of a lab. And I really, really, really liked that because he basically promised me that all these different like sci-fi technologies that I've been writing about inside of my books for the past like at that point 10 years of my life, he's like, I will try to help you as much as I can to make those technologies inside of a lab and like bring them to fruition. And I was like, that's, it blows my mind that somebody at such a massive university would even be willing to like take time to talk to me, let alone offer me positions like that. And that was why I ended up SIRing. And I was like, okay, I don't even need to consider any other schools at this point. I am in love with the community here. I'm in love with the abundance of resources. And I haven't really looked back from that decision ever since. And something that I think is really important about college is, and this isn't just about UCLA, it's about like all colleges, is that you want to make sure that you never think, what if? Like, what if I went somewhere else? What if I chose a different major? Because this is kind of the turning point of your life where you are setting up your entirety of your like future career trajectory. So if there is at any point when you're kind of like, oh my gosh, like what if this, what if that, I would say really listen to your heart at that point and make sure that you aren't dwelling on those questions and you really want to just sit there and say, okay, let me make my most straightforward decision. Let me weigh out all the pros and cons and make this decision just based off of every single aspect that could be thrown at me. And for me, UCLA really did encompass all of those different questions. So it wasn't too difficult to choose in the end UCLA over the other schools.
Yay.
Yeah.
Um, and I will say, not that this applies to you, but like I've had friends transfer out and into UCLA, like
Mm-hmm.
not even from community college, like how most people transfer, but like my friend went to UC Santa Barbara, and
Mm-hmm.
then like after a year was like, oh, I kind of want to look into UCLA, and even like transferred here. And then I had other friends transfer to like Cornell or another, or like another.
Mm-hmm.
So like it may seem like a really big decision, but it's also like not final.
Everything in life is reversible. Like,
Yeah, and like
it's really
you can
easy to kind of
you should
go
like
back
take
and forth.
action like you're really passionate about like
Oh,
getting.
so sorry. You're like giving a really heartfelt spiel, and I was like,
Okay. Anyway, um, at the end of this, for like the last 10 to 15 minutes, the Makerspace is going to kick Sadaf out. Just kidding.
mm-hmm.
Sadaf's gonna yeet out.
They said,
The
yeet.
Makerspace is gonna come on and talk about what they do. Like that's not until 4:45. So until then,
You
do
have
you want
three
to
minutes.
do your one last like, if you had to give a piece of advice to incoming freshmen, what would it be?
Let's say one piece of incoming advice is to utilize as much as you can here at UCLA. There is so much that it's literally impossible to kind of go in and view everything. So go in there with like bright open eyes and just grab as many opportunities and as many resources as you can, because these are honestly, like, for me, have been the 4 best years of my entire life, and it's only like up. Like, I'm not scared about graduation. There's always going to be better things to come, but I've had such an amazing time here at UCLA that it would be a shame to come to such an amazing university like this and not utilize as many resources as you can, as many opportunities as you can. If you want to join a club but you're worried about, like, oh, I don't know if they're going to like me, do it. Just go in. If you want to go to recruitment and you're like, oh, I don't necessarily know if it's a thing for me, do it. If you want to take a class and you're not sure if it'll like match your plan, do it. Take advantage of like as many things as you can, because it's such an amazing school. You have a limited amount of time, and really just take advantage of everything that it has to offer, because there is so much.
Yay! Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. I hope I gave you some valid information. So I'm gonna probably just eat out pretty soon,
Wait, no,
but
no, you're gonna leave me alone here.
oh, just
Um,
kidding. I'm staying.
the Makerspace should be joining soon, but I'm gonna wait until their request and then like kick you out and then have them join.
Audrey said, get out.
So get
But
out,
I
but
had an
don't leave me
amazing time
alone.
talking to all of you. And I enjoyed actually seeing your face, because I've talked to you over the phone and over text for a little bit. This is like the first time I've seen you in a really long
I know
time.
yesterday we talked, but like we didn't even FaceTime.
Yeah. And also, if anyone has like any additional questions that I accidentally didn't cover, oh, that's cute. That's fun. I don't know how to do it, but that's fun. Pretend it's here.
I don't think
But if anyone has like any questions that I wasn't able to answer, feel free to just like hit me up in my messages and be like, hey, you ignored me. And I'll be like, I'm sorry. Here's the answer. So, always happy to talk.
Yeah.
I see my sister.
Thank you to Sadaf for channeling her tour guide energy. I
Woo.
was really worried when I first asked her. I was like, "Can you please channel this energy and none of your other
She's
personas,
like, don't be actual sit off, be tour guide sit off. And I was like,
please?" Of course. But yeah, continue asking questions in the chat if you guys want to, and then Sadaf can answer them. I need to text someone about the Makerspace. Um,
oh, I love all the love I'm getting. Thanks, guys. You're really inflating my already big ego. I love it. You're all sweet. Are you guys excited to come to UCLA? It'll be fun. I wish I was staying. Who's my favorite One Direction member? It's Harry Styles. That's my sister.
the video of you crying in your living room when Zayn left.
My sister's the one that posted that, you guys. When Zayn left One Direction, my sister videotaped me sobbing on the ground, like holding my ticket to my heart for the concert. And like BuzzFeed posted it, and like People Magazine posted it, Cosmo posted it, and I wanted to cry. Is Bruinwalk more accurate than other websites in terms of like rating professors? I'd say it's pretty accurate.
It's the only one.
What? Yeah, I think that's the only one. I don't know if we have a rate my professors and
There
stuff.
is, but like no one really posts.
Yeah.
Like no one really, like no one uses it. So
It's definitely Bruin Walk. Does Harry Styles walk around Westwood? You guys, I went to the same coffee shop every single Tuesday for 2 years. Profeta in Westwood. I went every single day, every single Tuesday for 2 years. 1 week, I had stomach flu and I didn't go. Harry Styles went. I'm fine. How are the career guidance counselors? Phenomenal, at least for School of Engineering, because I've talked to them a lot. They're really helpful, helped me kind of put me on the right path for my career.
There's a career center for like all of UCLA, and I've been there a couple times. They're really helpful.
Yeah, they're great.
Like,
they also do like resume workshops and all that kind of stuff, so like it's really fun. What?
Have, like, they have some now still online every week.
Yeah, even in the online stuff, we've had a really nice transition to keeping all of our resources. Like, I know the School of Engineering has our own like CAPS program, which is like kind of like therapy, all that kind of stuff, counseling, all that. And they are still taking like drop-ins for that. They're still offering even like career guidance. They're offering grad school guidance. So it's really nice.
Thank God the internet was discovered here.
You guys, we invented the internet.
Dude, I saw the room in Boulder the other day, like the room where the internet was discovered, and like they closed it off, and it's like in a basement. It's really
yeah, no, I used to like take people there for engineering tours before they yeeted me out, and I was like, let's go. So I would take people down there and they're like, hey, we're going down like deep, and I was like, 5 more stories, let's go. Oh my gosh. Do I have any coffee shop recommendations? I go to Profeta a lot, which is a pretty popular coffee shop in Westwood. It's really cute. They don't have a lot of outlets though, so if you're trying to study there, you have to be like a fake studier like me that goes there for like the aesthetic and then goes on TikTok for 4 hours.
Ministry of Coffee is good.
That's I haven't actually been.
There are a lot of tables there and like outlets.
We love to hear it. Have you been to that new coffee shop that's like the pay as you want?
Oh my god, yeah, like
the upside down.
Yeah, upside down coffee. It's like donation based payments, so like you pay what you want, and it's like still good coffee and tea, and it's like a cute area. So it's like really cute. At night, it's like an art gallery. It's really cool.
My weird little apartment. We go and get our coffee from Chevron because we live like really close to Chevron, and everyone bullies us for it because they're like, "What's your favorite?"
Really close to Upside Down as well.
Yeah, we are probably closer to the Upside Down than we are Chevron, but you know it fits the vibes better. I look like someone who would get my coffee from Chevron. So.
Favorite food? Me and Sadaf love the crepe place in Westwood. Yes. I don't even know the name. It's next to Habibi Cafe.
Yeah, I just realized we don't know the name.
We call it crepes.
Yeah, it's just crepes. There's only like one crepe place and it's crepes. Yeah. So we go there a lot. TLT tacos is really good. I get a young little tofu and potato taco because vegans, and it's really, really yummy. So I go there a lot. It's a good time.
And there are a lot of grocery stores too. So if you live in the apartments, or even if you just want like snacks in your room, like there's a Whole Foods, Target, Trader Joe's, Ralph's. I think that's it.
Ooh,
and like that's 4 in like a 2-block radius.
Someone asked about transportation in Westwood if you don't have a car, and I'm also going to close this because it's getting weirdly. Okay, there we go. So transportation is like really, really easy if you don't have a car because we have so many different ways to get around. I call it wubba. So you have walking, you have Uber, you have bikes, birds, which are like the scooters, and the buses. So there's tons of ways. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get around. Also, I didn't have a car here until literally my senior year this year, and I've never needed one because I always had friends that have cars. My biggest advice to you is you don't need a car, you need friends who have cars. So just kind of like mooch off their rides and get around places. Can you have a car on campus freshman year? Oh, short answer, yes. Long answer, you're probably not going to get it. What were you saying?
I think you have to end for the other person to request to join.
Sounds good. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Sadaf. Okay, so we're waiting for the Makerspace to join, and there's one in the engineering school, but there's also one right on the hill in Reber, and they have 3D printers, they have laser cutters, and it's available to all students. They have a lot more equipment that I am not equipped to tell you about. So Charlie from the Makerspace is going to join soon, and they say they're ready. So I don't know how to... Oh, here, I can add them. Go. Okay. Asking them to join. Hello.
Hey, what's
How
up,
are
yo?
you?
I'm here with my lead tech, Matt. We're in the
Nice.
Makerspace. How's it
Amazing.
going?
Good. We're just giving some facts about engineering. Do you guys want to talk about the Makerspace?
Yeah, for sure. So, like you just mentioned, we're located up here on the hill in Reber Hall. We got kind of Reber Terrace just outside of us. Ignore all those flyers. They're just all our recent postings on how to operate within the space. But normally on a day-to-day when things aren't as crazy as they are, we would have just basically a free space to enter, machines to use for all students. All majors can access the space. Don't have to pay to use the space. We have laser cutting, 3D printing, vinyl cutting. Um, we have electric components, things you can kind of learn how to basically code and wire. We can laser
Ooh.
engrave
Ooh, the
hydroplasts, all
hydroblast.
sorts of really cool things. Matt, anything else to add? What else do we got here?
I guess the big thing for us is we want to be a resource for all the students here. So we want to make sure that everyone feels welcome. So you don't have to have any experience at all. Like when I got hired, I had never used any of the woodworking tools here. And the technicians, who are mostly nice people, our job is kind of to help you figure out all these things. So if you say, hey, Matt, I want to make my own electric skateboard, we'll try our best and help you figure out how you want to do that. Or Matt, I want to make my own custom wooden chess set. We're going to scramble and make sure that we provide you with the materials, the technical support, and the emotional support that you need to make that thing happen. So that's our big thing. We want to make sure that everyone can make anything that they want.
Cool. So no experience required.
No experience required, yeah. And we have classes and stuff too. So if you haven't had enough class already, taking 3 or 4 classes a quarter, you can hit us up in the nights for workshops, and we'll teach you how to 3D print things, laser cut, design your own custom gifts, and we even do special events like making custom chocolates for someone on Valentine's Day, or making your own like little Halloween costume. So we have a lot of options available for you as well.
Cool. And do you want to talk about what you're doing right now in the recent weeks?
Yeah, so we've recently had to really alter how we do work, as has everyone else. And so right when we kind of went on lockdown, we had efforts to supply UCLA Medical with 3D printed face shields. We have a couple components still left over here. And so this portion is just like kind of the headband portion.
Like goes right here.
Yeah, it goes right above the eyes. And then we were delivering them to the library where Doug Daniels was assembling them with other components and then handing them off to medical. And that was a big joint effort with a bunch of labs, the Bolter Makerspace and the libraries, anyone who basically had a 3D printer on campus. And right now we're currently shifting to try to create cloth face masks for those who are still working here on the Hill, students who are living here on the Hill. So we've got a few prototypes. I'm wearing one.
Oh, wow.
Got some other prototypes with just things you tie, elastic bands, just different variations. And we've kind of come to one that we feel is pretty easily made and rapidly, and trying to just utilize whatever material we have currently. All the material was donated by actually Seppi and her partner Robin, so it was really generous of them to give that to us, and now we can get started.
Cool. So someone asked, how do you sign up for classes at the Makerspace?
So typically we host all our signups on
Eventbrite.
Eventbrite.
But we're hip and cool with the kids. You can hit us up on Facebook as well. Other than liking the UCLA Housing Facebook page, which you should already be doing, you can like us on Facebook as well. And we post a large calendar with all of our events. We also create little flyers and posters all around the Hill so you can see what's available. But again, sign up is free. You don't have to have any previous experience. As long as we have enough room to house all of the people, you're always welcome to come and we can help you out.
Yeah, and follow you on Instagram.
Follow us, Instagram.
UCLA Makerspace. Hit us up.
Cool.
When we get back to going, sorry, you had a question.
No, go ahead.
Hopefully when we get back to regular operations, things may be a little bit altered in how we work, but we're still looking to support as many students as possible through our programs. And we're just hoping that we can continue to provide fun resources.
Yay. So we have a few minutes left in the live. Like, it cuts us off right at 5 o'clock, I think. So do you guys want to take this time to talk about anything that you guys are doing? Like, anything else to add?
Yeah, sure. Matt?
Very quickly, I'll just talk to you about some stuff that you can make that is very easy to do. So
Yeah, sure.
in an hour, I teach a few of the workshops here. If you want to make your own custom t-shirt, you can make
Ooh.
whatever banana split that you want.
Let's see that jacket.
My
Yes.
uniform. This
Oh my
apparently
gosh,
gives
you made
Charlie,
that?
like, yeah. This took
Absolutely
way
Makerspace.
longer than an hour to
Yeah.
make. But we make a lot of people come in here to make like fake Supreme clothing and stuff like that. We can do that too. But stuff like this, we can teach you how to do it in an hour. Stuff like hydro flasks, we can also engrave into shot glasses. Obviously only for water, because UCLA housing, res life, as you know. But we can engrave into shot glasses. This also takes only an hour. And things like laser cutting into wood blocks. We have lots of people come in here to make, just like little gifts for their parents, for their friends, stuff
And
like
that's
that.
like with the laser.
Yeah, and you can laser cut that super, super easily. This we can probably do in and out in 10 minutes if you really want to. So the big thing we want to emphasize here is accessibility, right? If you really are interested in any of these kinds of things, please come in. Most of us don't bite. We love to help you out. I also see someone
free,
asked.
no experience needed.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
Someone asked, do we have to pay for any services? So not actually.
So there's kind of a halt on that, as things are changing. No. So, and we would like to keep that model for as long as we can. That is our goal, to provide as many services to all students free of charge. The reality is, in the future, we may have to rethink that model. But yeah, I don't know.
Just to speak on that for now, typically how it's worked in the past is that all of the machines are always free to use, and we provide material when possible. So when you want to 3D print something, we've kind of provided that for you. But for example, if you're going to make your own electric skateboard, we're not going to give you motors or the skateboard or the grip tape. You're going to have to get that. And hopefully that also answers your question about what about the material. The other thing I'll point out is that sometimes we also host other collaboratory events with UCLA Res Life. So for example, a lot of floors come in here and they're like, Matt, we want to make, floor t-shirts, floor jackets, floor sweatpants, whatever you want to do. And in that situation, even though we are not providing the material, maybe your floor has the budget, or your club or organization. And we've also had some classes here as well. Fiat Luxes, if you haven't heard about those, I definitely ask around about them. And all those are other ways that you can provide the materials. At the end of the day, the material costs aren't too high. So if you're engraving onto something, the thing you're engraving on, you're going to have to buy, but everything else is free. For things like the t-shirt and vinyl and stuff, you can get a roll of vinyl for like $5 to $10 on Amazon. So at the end of the day, we hope it's not a huge cost barrier for some of these materials. And as Charlie said, we'll kind of have to update you as we see how the situation progresses.
Awesome. Well, if you don't have anything else to add, I think this is the end of our live stream. So
thank you so much for including us.
Of course. Thank you for all you do. All right. Bye, everyone.
Take care, everyone.